have great news to foreign investors who are looking to invest or even settle in Kenya. So, apparently, Kenya was ranked as the top or best country for foreign investors and expatriates to settle and even invest. This information was given by a global company that provides information to expats around the world. We are proud that our nation has been recognized as the best place in Africa for foreigners to settle and even invest, and that means that the country has a very big potential for growth. Here are the reasons why you should invest in Kenya. Kenya is a beautiful country, and it has beautiful scenery. The people are friendly. It's a peaceful country, and there is no language barrier because we use English, which is a widely used language in the world. You can agree with me that it has a vibrant culture, and the people here are just warm, so it will make a great home for you as a foreigner here. The other reason is that Kenya is growing very fast. That is because most of the population is made up of the middle class, so it has great potential for growth, and the economy is also stable. It is also easy to find homes in Kenya, and also the cost of housing is affordable to foreign investors as well. So this is very promising to investors or anyone who wants to come and invest in Kenya. So there's no reason for you not to consider investing and settling in Kenya. Here are the key points to note about foreign ownership of properties in Kenya. Number one is that according to the Land Registration Act, the Lands Act, and the Constitution of Kenya, foreigners are allowed to own property in Kenya. And as a foreigner, you can own property either as an individual or as a company or even through a trust. The other thing is that foreigners are allowed to own property in Kenya legally, and you don't have to be a Kenyan citizen for you to own a property in Kenya. The other thing is that buying or owning a property in Kenya doesn't make you a Kenyan citizen. The other thing is that if you own or buy a property in Kenya, your children, your relatives, or your wife or your husband can inherit that property. Whether they are girls or women, anyone is allowed to inherit and own property in Kenya. There's no discrimination according to the gender in property ownership in Kenya. The other thing you should note is that if you are a foreign investor and would like to register your child as a legal owner or partly as a legal owner of the property that you have purchased here, it is very possible. According to the Land Registration Act 2012, Section 47, a child can be a legal owner of a property. So that is not an issue. The other thing you should note as a foreign investor in Kenya is that as a foreigner, you can only buy a property on leasehold tenure. That means that there are two types of title deeds in Kenya. That is a freehold title deed and a leasehold title deed. So as a Kenyan citizen, you own a property and get a freehold title deed, meaning that you fully own that property and the land that is built on, and there are no restrictions to usage or ownership of that property. But as a foreign investor who owns or buys a property in Kenya, you only own the property on leasehold tenure. So the kind of document, ownership document that you get is a leasehold certificate that allows you to lease the land that the property is built on. And you actually pay a peppercorn rent for it as long as you hold that property. And the years that a foreigner is allowed to own or hold that property is 99 years. Nothing more, but it can be less depending on the lease years that are remaining. The other thing that you should note as a foreign investor is that foreigners cannot buy or own agricultural land or land in rural areas. Let's dive into the restrictions of foreign property ownership in Kenya. Number one is that foreigners cannot own land in Kenya, but they can actually lease land for a period of 99 years. And they can get a leasehold title that they pay rent to continue holding or leasing that land or property. Number two, foreigners cannot own or buy agricultural land in Kenya. And this means also land in rural areas that is meant for agricultural or farming purposes. And if you have a special interest as a foreigner to buy agricultural or to own agricultural land in Kenya, you can only be exempted from that restriction by the President of Kenya upon applying for that exemption. Good luck. The other thing is that if a foreigner shows interest in a freehold property or land, they can actually buy it, but the years of ownership will be truncated to 99 years, so it will be converted into a leasehold property. Another thing is that a company with foreign shareholders is considered a foreign company and it cannot own freehold property in Kenya, and there is no trust that can be formed to avert that restriction. Keep that in mind. Reason being that using nominees and forming trusts is considered a way of circumventing the limitations and restrictions of foreign property ownership by the Kenyan law. Please don't put your property at risk. The other reason why use of nominees and forming trust is discouraged is because any property that is held in trust is considered as being held by a Kenyan citizen only if the beneficial interests of that trust is held by a Kenyan citizen. I hope that makes sense. However, public companies that foreign investors are shareholders can own freehold or agricultural land. If you are a foreigner and you're a member of a public company, you can be part or you can be an owner within that company. That is legally allowed. Key steps to owning or buying a property in Kenya. Number one, you should make sure that you have all your documents in place. That includes proof of fund or income, passport, acquire KRA PIN or apply for one. You can also make sure that you have your passport size photographs ready, and also make sure that you have an address. The other thing is that you should appoint a real estate agent to help and guide you through the whole sales transaction. Make sure you choose a good realtor, an experienced and seasoned realtor who is actually willing and has the passion to help you and guide you throughout the process. And if you are considering using a real estate agent, you may consider Jacky Sells Homes your number one go-to realtor, and I will make sure that you experience real estate with a difference. The other step is to conduct due diligence on the property that you have identified to purchase. It's also known as the property search, and it's very important or crucial when buying a property. It will help you to make sure that there's no encumbrance on that property, no disputes, no debts, and that there's no caveat against that property. If you're buying land, make sure that you engage a surveyor to mark the boundaries and confirm that the beacons are the actual boundaries of that land. Also make sure that you ask for the deed plan of that specific land that you're buying. The other thing is that you should make sure you have a map of the area. I normally advise my clients to buy or purchase a map of the area at the lands office. It's normally, I think, 1,500 Kenya shillings. If you are in doubt about the correct value of the property that you're purchasing, please consider appointing a valuer to help you in inspecting the property and also calculating the value of that property. The other crucial step that you should take is appointing a good and reputable qualified lawyer to help you with the understanding the terms of the sale agreement and also helping you sign the sale agreement and compiling all the documents that you're going to need to conduct the sales process or make the transaction successful. A reputable lawyer and a good lawyer will also help you mitigate risks of your investment and protect your interests. If all the terms of the sale agreement are correct and you are comfortable with them, you can go ahead to pay a down payment or a deposit to the seller's or developer's account. The least that they normally ask is 10% of the value of the property, but it can be agreed. So you can agree with your seller or developer on the amount of down payment that you're going to place to reserve that property or to show commitment. And mostly you'll find that this down payment is normally held by the seller's lawyer or in an escrow account, and it can only be removed from that account when the deal is sealed. So this deposit cannot be used until the deal is sealed. The other step is to have your name registered as the new owner of the property that is on the title deed. And this is normally done at the lands registry office, and every county has a land registry where all these transactions or deals are normally sealed. So after this registration of the title, you actually become the new owner of that property, and you can now pay the balance that is owed to the developer or the seller of that property. The other step that I normally advise my clients after registration and transfer of the title deed in their name is to conduct an official search after a week or two to confirm that the title deed is actually in their name. And if you have purchased land and it's now in your new name, make sure that you fence the land. This is just a recommendation. Fence your land and get to know the neighbors around that location. This will help you to scare away scammers and intruders to your property. As we come to the end of this video, I want to wish anyone and everyone looking to invest in Kenya all the best. Don't be scared. It can be done. It will be done. It is possible. If you have any questions about foreign property ownership in Kenya, please feel free to write your questions in the comment section below. And also let me know what other topics you'd like me to cover about real estate and property ownership in Kenya. If at all you find this video or channel informative and interesting, please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell to join the family of real estate moguls and curious minds. Thank you for watching, and see you next in the next video. It's your girl Jacky sells homes, your #1 go-to realtor in Nairobi, Kenya. No other.